Hey everyone, welcome to Learning Sharp. Figured tonight we would try and do a sharpening where we're going to do one stone, one strop, just try and do everything simple. We're going to use the King Neo 800. It's a splash and go stone. It's been previously lapped. We'll just use, this is just water with a little bit of Dawn dish soap in it, just enough to break the surface tension and keep your sword floating. You don't want to use too much or it will start to suds up on you and it just makes a mess. We're going to sharpen an S30V Manix that I've been beating up at work. Got a little bit of chipping in the tip. Haven't even cleaned it. This one does have a sharpening choil added. See if I can get that to focus. Makes it a little bit easier when you're riding up against the ricasso on a bench stone. Again, this is gonna be nothing fancy. This is if you wanted to get one stone and basically have a deburring strop, which I'll get into later, and then your final strop for a good working edge. Nothing fancy. We're not whittling hair. We're not doing anything crazy. So we'll go ahead. I'm going to try to keep the dead space, dead silence to a minimum. But I do tend to not talk a lot when I'm sharpening, but I'm going to try. Alright, so we'll go ahead and kill the edge. Now we got nothing. And here we go. Actually, let's go ahead and, for demonstration's sake, we'll go ahead and sharpie our bevel. That way we can find our angle good. We pretty much found our angle, and I'm basically locking my right wrist and applying pressure and guiding the bevel along the stone with my left hand. These stones do abrade well. They're silicon carbide, splash and go. They work pretty well on every steel I've sharpened on it. I've sharpened D2, S30V, ZDP 189. And as we can see, it is abrading. Sorry for the angle that we're working with here. Again, I'm doing the best that I can. Focusing on the tip just a little bit because I did have some damage where I was cutting zip ties off some chains at work and did happen to hit the chain. I'm a diesel mechanic professionally for a living, so I can beat up a knife pretty good at work. We're trying to sharpen for a burr. Pretty good on the burr through the belly and to the heel. Still need to work on that tip some. As you see, I rotate the stone. This stone was previously lapped with a Norton lapping stone, but I like to rotate to keep the wear even. this blade does have a little bit of a wolf ear on the one bevel where I got a little crazy. But we're going to sharpen just to a consistent bevel. I'm not going to worry about sharpening up to that wolf ear on that one side. It's really not necessary. It's more of an aesthetic thing. We're just going for a nice, consistent, sharp working edge. It's real important with freehand sharpening to lock the wrist. That's where we keep that consistent bevel and we don't fall into the trap of convexing. Not that a convex edge is bad, it does add some endurance to it. But I like a nice clean straight bevel. As straight and clean as I can get it. You don't have to go fast. Speed has nothing to do with it. You can do stropping strokes. You can work the bevel back and forth. It's really what you're comfortable with and what you can hold a consistent angle at. All right, we have a good burr all the way across that bevel. And we're nice and consistent. Now we'll rotate our stone. We'll re-wet. These King Neo stones are really nice. This is an underrated stone that you don't hear much about. As you can see, I'm a little slower on the opposite bevel. It's just a comfort thing. I'm not as comfortable. That could be remedied by switching hands, but again, just not something that I'm overly comfortable with. I do better just locking my wrist and consistently working the bevel. This side's going to come up faster anyway because we've already apexed and formed a burr on the opposite bevel. But we want to trade that bevel side to side so that we ensure that we're consistently apexed. Now I can see where I'm not hitting the complete bevel. Good lighting is very, very important with sharpening. I don't have the best studio lighting. I'm sorry for that. I can see what I'm doing well. I have just an LED strip light. Got it Lowe's. But I know it's probably somewhat hard for y'all to see. Another thing that's good to do, I find, is to look where the two bevels meet. at the tip, and you can see if you've started to overwork one bevel more so than the other. It's pretty good for now. So another thing that'll happen is people will form a very, very large burr. You want to get to where you form that burr as small as possible, because with burr reduction through sharpening, the burr is what seems to trip people up the most. They don't get the burr fully removed, and that's where they fall into saying edges aren't sharp, they won't hair whittle, they still have that burr. So now we're going to do some burr minimization passes, and then I'll show you a trick that was passed on to me by a much, much, much better high-level sharpener that really works well if you have trouble with burr minimization on the stones. You ideally want to try and be burr-free off of the stones, but if you can't, I got a trick for that. So now we just want to do very, very light pressure into the edge only burr reduction strokes. The thing with freehand sharpening, stropping strokes form burrs into the edge strokes cut the burr, and we want to weaken the burr. We may not actually cut it off depending on the steel, the stone, the sharpener. You can actually feel it cut off or find it on the stone where it's cut off. But right now we're minimizing. We're working that burr down and weakening it, especially where we're trying to do this all in one stone. We want to make this simple, no crazy progressions, no extra stones. We'll flip to this side so we got a little bit more water on this side, and I think we'll about have it. Light pressure and that consistent angle. And I got something on the stone here, I can feel me bumping over it. By all means, if y'all see me doing something wrong, something you know better, by all means, comment, tell me. We're here to learn, we're here to grow, become better sharpeners. I'm always out for learning something new, and I by no means know everything or even close to it. I just want to share the things that I've learned and struggled with y'all. So we'll set that there for now. So this is just a piece of 1x1 pine with a piece of flesh side up, veg tan cowhide, sanded with 120 grit emery cloth. This is a piece of suede leather, actually off of a welding bib from work. And this is what I'll use as a deburring strap. Flesh side, coarse side leather is really, really good for weakening and breaking off a burr. So now we'll just work the bevel. Very simple strap to make, nothing fancy, nothing special required, not even any compound. We're just minimizing that burr. We'll work the bevel in sections. Light to moderate pressure. A few into the edge, tip to heel strokes. Sorry, still a stropping stroke, tip to heel though. Then we'll switch over to the little bit finer suede leather. That thumbnail's kind of worn out from checking edges. So we got a good amount of bite. Let's go ahead and see what we got. The carbon copy papers. They work really well. They're not quite as thin and flimsy as receipt paper, not quite as stiff as copy paper. Definitely still got some work to do. Still got some burr. Edge is still a little ragged. You can feel it right there. So we'll go in there with a little bit more pressure. Sorry about that. There it is. All right. Again, we're just using this to deburr. We're not refining anything. We're not honing. We're not getting into our micro serrations. We are just working down that burr, minimizing it. It looks like I'm going kind of willy-nilly here, but I am keeping a steady angle. There we go. All right, so now we've used a King Neo 800, a deburring strap. Again, if burr reduction is something that you're still weak at, or just you want to be sure of it, deburring strap is the way to go. That was passed on to me by a higher end sharpener whenever I was still struggling with really refining that burr off of the stones. For this edge, we're going to use 0.5 micron Gunny Juice polycrystalline diamond emulsion on basswood. Using polycrystalline diamond emulsion, if you do have any little bit of burr left, it will break that down. It will deburr. you can over refine and over strop. That's how a lot of people end up removing teeth from an edge. They'll try to go for a polish. We're just going far enough that I know we've gotten that burr. We've gotten into those micro serrations created by our stone. Here, we'll even try some phone book paper. And maybe we'll roll out with a piece of leather. Again, this is a one and done, nothing crazy. Basically one strop, one stone. Working edge. No polish. Nothing crazy. 0.0 800 and 0.5 micron polycrystalline diamond emulsion. You don't have to have anything fancy to get good edges. Clean, consistent, not a ton of polish or anything to it. Very crisp. Has absolutely zero problem cutting through 8 to 9 ounce veg tan cowhide leather. Quick and simple. Thank you guys for watching. We'll get into some more stone progressions, more strop progressions, some polishing, other abrasives in the next video. Maybe we'll start doing some guided system stuff, but I just want to show you that you don't have to have anything crazy. You know, I made this bridge here for this pan I have just to get me a good height to where I'm comfortable. One stone, one strop, one emulsion, nothing fancy, and you can maintain edges that are plenty sharp for anything you need to do. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment, subscribe, like. Tell me if you didn't like something. Tell me if there's something that I don't know that you know. Thanks a lot. Y'all have a great night.